All right. Um, yeah, let's get to it. So I had a request if I could type some Python. Now, I haven't done any Python in about a year and a half or so. It's been quite a while, and I figured now's a good time for a refresher. So here's a little Python book. We're gonna go through some Pygame stuff, but first, let's just let's just go into chapter 2 here and go to page 26. Let's see what we got. Yada yada yada. Ah, this seems like a pretty simple one to do. All right, so what we're gonna do very quickly is just print the old hello world. And it doesn't take semicolons at the end. We just have a print line. Hit play. Should see it down here. Perfect. Let's make a function. What we're going to do is convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius because I live in Fahrenheit world and Celsius is important. So we're going to define our function. I believe we do it like a colon. And let's try it like that. Don't know if it's mad or not, so we'll just exit. I wonder if I can just if main. Oh, yeah, I should maybe. Do I gotta do like that weird thing like the dunder statement? I feel like maybe kinda. Yeah. You gotta do the weird dunder statement. Alright, so this function is gonna take in a parameter. We want it to take in a Fahrenheit. I don't believe we type in data types in here. So I could, pretty sure, like, isn't it just like x equals 5 and then we call it a day? Yeah, that is so weird. Okay. So inside the parameters, we need to take in Fahrenheit. And what is like the algorithm, right? So, well, it's not even double slash for comments. Okay. Anyway, the Celsius is equal to the, what is it, like 9/5 plus 32, something like that. Let me get a calculator. Let me check some math. So let's say it's like 70 degrees divided by 5, multiply it by 9. Yeah, that's not looking right. That's not. Yeah, that's not looking right. Okay. That's because I know, what is it, like 20 degrees Celsius, 9/5. Is this the one we do? Divide by 5 times 9. So 4 times 9 plus 32. That's looking better. Kind of, sorta. Let's double check here in Google. 20 degrees Celsius, 68. Celsius times 9/5. What? Pretty sure I did that. Let's try that again. 20 degrees divided by 5, 9/5, plus 32. Okay, so Fahrenheit is 9/5, or Celsius, my bad. It's 9/5 of our Fahrenheit plus our 32. Pretty sure that's what that, or shit, that's backwards. This is Fahrenheit. This is Celsius. Wow. What a morning already, guys. Okay, so Fahrenheit is 9/5 Celsius plus 32. We want in here to put in what we do. Figures, because we want to do this backwards, we want to output the Celsius value. So that'll be 5/9 minus 32. So Celsius is 5/9 Fahrenheit minus 32. Because you multiply by the 5, divide by the 9, subtract 32. Just some algebra there. So we want a Fahrenheit value up here. And we're just going to call it 0 for now. Actually, shouldn't we just be able to put it right there? Call it a day. So Fahrenheit times 5 divided by 9. All that minus 32. That is equal to our Celsius. Indentation error. Celsius. And we should just be able to print. Yeah. Hit play. It should not have a clue because we didn't give it this. So let's give it 68 degrees. We should get 20. 5.7. 5/9. 5/9. Again, I'm going to look it up. Fahrenheit is what in Celsius? Wait, is it? Wait, I'm so confused. 9/5 Celsius plus 32 is Fahrenheit. What was the other one I looked up? That is... I'm baffled this morning. I guess I'm extremely not in it today. Well, that's 9/5 Celsius plus 32 is Fahrenheit. So Celsius is also 9/5. I'm pretty fucking sure that was kind of the math, right? If we went to the calculator, we said, hey, 20, divide you by 5, multiply you by 9, plus 32 is Fahrenheit. We're printing out Celsius. So this is backwards, which is good, because we want Celsius. So we want this to be 20. on the back side. So we're subtracting 32. Then we are dividing by 9 and multiplying by 5. Or multiplying by 5, then dividing by 9. So right here, it's slightly different. We're subtracting by 32, and we're multiplying by 5, and dividing by 9. Yeah, 20. Okay. Well, that was, that is what it is, I guess. Let's try, because, whatever number we put in here, that's what it's going to do. Python has no semicolons, some colons, some weird dunder statements. Functions are like this, and if we change the function name to like func here, we would have to change it down here. I wonder if func is like a keyword. No, it's not. So now that we have just a little bit of practice, let's jump right in. So we're going to do Pygame. So Pygame here, we got some stuff. So getting started. Best way to install Pygame is with the pip tool, which is what Python uses to install packages. Note that they come very safe stuff. So we're going to copy this line, run Python, paste it. I noticed this as well, because when I was typing in, I can't find the path. So that's it's going to be interesting. So here, let's just try like Pygame, PyCharm. We're gonna.
I wanted to show you guys how to install Pygame on PyCharm on Mac, and all you need to do is go to Python packages here at the bottom, and you can just search up the.
Well, let's try that. Got packages down here, I guess. Right there. Pygame. Aha. And we're just going to hit install. Alrighty. I think we got it. Looks fine and dandy. Let's go to, that is a getting started page. Let's go to docs. Just grab this guy here. Copy. Paste. Let's run it. Yeah, so we have a Pygame window. This is good. Oh, hey, yeah, you get to watch me struggle with learning Python again. It's been over a year and a half, so I did a little slight refresher on just printing to the screen, which was, to be honest, not the best performance, but we'll make it. So let's see. We got some import statement, initialization, screen width and height. This is our clock. Running is true, so while running, do this stuff here. Yeah, that we do. My mistake number one, the time I took off from Python. That's the render, and this is our FPS stuff. So this looks like our double buffer. So whatever goes inside here is going to draw. Looks fine. I suppose. So check out some of this documentation. Okay, they got some key presses. Looks like they got like a draw circle. They got like a vectors. Let's see what else they got here. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking for. So we got a draw. Pygame image, loading, saving, and transferring. Let's check out Pygame image. Load new image from a file, save. Oh, they got TGA, BMPs. So we load the file name, load image from a file. So we load the file object, pygame.image.load. Let's try this. So it's got to be within the path of this little doohickey. So what I'm gonna let's copy that path. Come into here. We're gonna do a little pasty guy. Oop. Come on. That is not the path I copied. Copy path. Absolute path. Alright, so this looks like the project's path. Inside here, make a instead of making a folder, we're just gonna let that be just like that. Let's load in an image. Let's just make a real simple thing. File export. Call this test image. Export. So we got our image here. And we want to take a look at the documentation real quick. And we got the load file path. Pygame.image.load. So I'm going to do that above the running, because we don't want that happening every single frame. So test.png. Now what does this dot convert to? I wanted to autofill that. Dot convert. Oh, why are we on Python? Well, if you remember last week, you asked me a little bit about Python and if I could take a look at your Python code. And I told you that, yeah, we can go on Python. It's not like my best language at all, but I'll also be teaching, believe it or not, Java and Python this summer. And I haven't touched Python in a while, and this gave me kind of the opportunity to refresh on Python really quick with Pygame. And to meet you where you were looking for the last time. So if you have your code, we can take a look at that as well. Right now, I was just seeing if I could find a .convert, see what was going on with that, and see how we actually draw this guy. So it looks like he sets them equal to. Yeah, I definitely got busy, and it's part of life. So that looks like the folder name and that operating system path to join. That's interesting. Oh well, thank you. That's I appreciate that. And I did the stream because when you asked me when was the next time I was going to stream, I said Friday. Even though I'm busy, a deal's a deal. You know, I don't want to just go, oh yeah, I'm going to do this thing and not do it. Do we actually hit? Is it like Pygame.draw? And then we put in like our guy here. It's a semicolon. Oh, yeah. Pygame.draw a surf. Let's check this out. So we load the image. Loaded the image. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. Let's draw the image now. So where do we got? Pygame.draw. There we are. Let's draw a rect, polygon, lines. This is drawing the rectangle. Drawing a circle. I'm gonna come up here, hit Control F, and type in image. That's the only. We're gonna go like this. Draw an image to a screen, Pygame. Create a display surface object. So this is their display surface object. They do use the dot convert. Pygame.display.flip. Image is drawn on it. Screen. So I thought I would have been inside the while loop here. That is very interesting. Oh, yeah, it may or may not fit, but good luck. If you have to do it in chunks, don't worry too much about it. We'll get there. Pygame.display image or display.set caption image. Set the Pygame window to this name. So this name is image. IMP is Pygame image.load. This loads the image to IMP. Screen.blip. Blip. And screen is this. Create the surface object of the dimensions. Pygame.display.set mode. Okay, so we're gonna try some stuff. So this is this. This is the set mode that they have. So I'm gonna come down here and try their Pygame. Or no, it'd be screen.blip. Now, I think that has to be in the while loop to actually draw. I could be wrong. To me, it should go about right there. Yep, and there he is in the corner, just to double check that. Yep, okay. Making progress. So this is our little guy. Put him at like 200, 200. He should be ish. Okay. Now let's do like let's do X position, Y position. We're gonna put those in here. And then over here in the stuff, I saw this here. And how are they calculating delta time? Delta time is 0. This is like some events. Fill the screen purple. They're just drawing a circle. Times dt. Oh, yeah, no, that actually makes quite a bit of sense. Because delta time looks like clock.tick is in milliseconds. So we're gonna go like delta time over here, delta time, and this is just to make sure that the program runs same clock speed. And I'm gonna copy paste this part. And this looks like it's inside the while running loop. And we want X position, Y position instead of this stuff. So this would be X position. This would be Y position. These are delta time. And now we should have a sprite who can move on the screen. Int object has no attribute Y. Oh, they must have a vector. Interesting that it ran first. I suppose it didn't hit that segment. Right, so now we have a little guy. And let's start getting deeper into this. So yeah, my connection is a little slow. It's not quite a Telegram. I don't know if you have GitHub. That might be. Well, there's another thing you can use if you don't have GitHub. There's this thing called Pastebin. You could paste here, and then so let's say you got whatever you want. You just set the category. You can either do syntax highlighting. You can set a password. You can keep it open, and then you'd send me the link that this produces. I would go to this website, and then be able to see it. The other way we could go about this is if you have a GitHub. You just share the repository. I'd go over, check it out. But yeah, so we're gonna slowly but surely make a very quick game out of whatever the heck this is. But we want some objects. We want more files than just like a main. So how do we go about this? Is there like a add? There is. I believe I'd have to use an import statement. So let's go ahead and call this game loop. Just as a quick test, I'm gonna go like that. Control X, Control V. import game loop if int if name. How does that understand go? It's like I just seen it. Yeah, that if that, then I suppose we should put that in a function. That stuff should be good. We're gonna go from functional programming here for a second. So just call that def main. Grab that. Come here. Paste. Put all this in here. And doesn't seem happy. Just to double check. Yep, I think I might have to do like a game loop dot. Let's see. Play, same thing. Alright, so now we have multiple files. One does one thing, one does another. This is all fine and dandy. We want to make an object though. Everybody's got their own personalities, and thank you. I enjoy my laugh as well. So does my girlfriend. Well, let's see here. Go here, new Python file. We're gonna call this one player, and this is where we're actually gonna store our main stuff. I wonder, do you just do class? Wow, so it's got quite a bit of stuff that it can just give us. Well, that's interesting. Self.x position, y position. What else does a player need? So it needs a position. It should have a image. This needs to know about Pygame. One thing that I was looking at through Java, so this would be the constructor. And if on constructor we're loading from image, that's not really how I like to set things up. In fact, I'm not going to do it that way. We are, again, and this might be very, like, why? You know, like this isn't going to be a big game or whatever. It's going to be like a very short thing. But that's definitely not the way I like to do it. So we're going to make an asset manager. Yep, that should be fine. What the heck here? So we're just going to try that again. Class asset manager tab. Do you not like whatever the heck that is? Definite self. What's the difference here? We're gonna ignore that thing. I don't know why. Or is that the constructor? We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Because what I like to do, and I think it's like a list or a tuple or something or another. We're gonna go and look up Python lists. Okay. I mean, why you gotta be so simple yet complicated, Python? That's whatever. Just kind of looking here. Class player : this stuff. This one, class asset manager. again, we're gonna have to probably import Pygame. That is mad. Line 11. Yeah. Expected an indentated block. I suppose stuff like this. We'll just go like this for a second. Okay. So it looks like in Python, if you don't finish a statement, it's gonna redline, which is good. So the thing I'm gonna try to do, we want this class to have a list. So this list will hold all the assets. So we're just gonna say my list or my asset list, and it's just gonna be like an empty thing. And if this is the constructor, I don't know if I want to pass in self. I think I want to pass in string and data type in this one. Or is it just like, we'll see, because I'd like that to populate. So I suppose we're just gonna go like, what even is asset in this? Is asset a okay? How the heck? So my list dot add asset. Does the list not have the add thing? We're gonna look it up real quick again. Python, how to add tuples. Because tuples, I think you have to make from the beginning. Append. Okay, that makes sense. Also, yeah, the syntax there is just awful. Append asset. My asset list dot append. This is because this is not a actual. I think it's what self dot. What that? Do we do self dot my asset? Self dot. We'll see. We'll see where this is going. All right. Here we're gonna import asset manager. And right here, we want to do the loady guy over there. So we're gonna do like a, so let me kind of go on Paint for a second, share with what I'm thinking. What we want to do, okay, what we want to do is first we go, hey, load this guy here. Then add him to this list. Then we're going to pass him over to player or whoever, right? So right here we added to the list, but we actually never loaded anything. And so here I'm just going to do like self.image or img, and don't necessarily want to call it 0, but however, you know, it is what it is. So def load assets self self.image is pygame.load image. Just kind of see what we got here. Pygame.image.load. So we load the image, and here we really want to pass in a string. So self.name is this thing. So we're going to pass in is it okay with that? Or does it hate it? I think it hates it. Let's just do name. And then here, that would be name. I think we also got to pass in self. And this list here, this list is actually going to be holding on to images. And so with this thing holding on to images, we're not really, this isn't a list of strings. This is a list of these doohickeys here. So this is kind of like the way I'd be doing it in C++ or Python, where we allocate the data, we pass it in, and we take that and we pass it around. And so right in here, we would notice how we're loading in this thing called asset, or append this. This isn't quite right. You more or less want that, just for clarity. So here, actually, that's where we kind of want name, right? Because we want to call like the load assets guy. And we want to pass in name. I think this would be a self dot. Yep, so we load it in and set it equal like that, and then pass it into here. And so the hope is this hits, this is all we call the add asset. Then we pass it a name. It takes that name, loads it, adds it to this list, and then all we call is this list, or all we use is this list. So here we will do like def give asset or pass asset, however you want to look at that. And I suppose it would be a self that we're doing. I don't know. Well, we for asset in asset list, we could do that. We could do, because I wonder, is this the, if this is the return type, or do we have return types? Pretty sure we should have return types. No, it's Python. Python return types in functions. Ah, we just type return. Okay, that's that's whatever. So we want to return that guy. So we're gonna call this, and I'm gonna fix that name. This should be called, in my opinion, right here in the constructor. Not sure if it's actually gonna enjoy life like that. I'm just thinking, because how do we want to go about this? In Java, when I was making an asset manager, I would take in string data and like, hey, load this image, pass it to this list. And then that list size would grow. And I'm like, hey, for the size of this list, run some stuff like at this index, give me, return this type thing. And my fear is, since here I'm just like, add asset. Well, yeah, I mean, I only have one asset right now, so that's probably fine. Especially if we're just like, hey, test.png. I think that's self dot. Probably fine. Here, do we do like a .get? We're just going to look up real quick again. Python list how to get an element. So we just use the little guys and put index in there. All right, so this should load test.png. It should be an index 0. This pass asset should be fine up here. So if we have like self.image is none, or is pass asset, and in here type in 0. Asset manager dot. I think we need to construct that too, right? So like asset manager is new asset manager. Something funky like that. Asset manager asset. Does it work like that? We're just gonna come over here. Ooh. And do constructor calling in Python. I suppose that should be fine. How do I call one class in Python from another class. So class A, self.a is that. Okay. Whatever. What the heck, Python? This is something crazy here. What happens if we hit play here? So this hits game loop.main, game loop comes in, and it goes, hey, and probably fails there. Which is perfectly fine, perfectly natural. So up here, we're gonna try some weird stuff again. Self.player is player. Self.asset is asset manager. I think there's a self in there. Is player what we're called? Yeah, should be. We're going to get rid of that for a second. And here, player dot. This worries me. Doesn't like that. Pass them like this, or player.player. Just kind of looking up right now this, because we got like class A defines, it's got a method. That's the method, does that. This is the constructor for class B, and we go, yo, self.a is class A. Here, I think I'm actually going to pass in self. I don't know if that is going to change anything. Player dot image. Where is a semicolon there that don't belong? So where does it even make it to? If we were to delete this and this should technically compile. It does not because of that. Bear with me, guys. I'm a learning. So that's how that works. Yeah. So that runs the function. That hits into here. This needs to. Well, that's probably a big reason why that wasn't working. Player imports asset manager, who imports Pygame. I don't know how far those import statements carry. Didn't look like very far. So we're going to try it like that and do like a player equals player. Looks like it's pretty upset about something funky there. Player is not callable. I feel like it needs a pass of self, or like this. But then how do you call self from this dunder statement? Like if name is main game loop dot main dot self. That is the question. How to call self properly Python. Self.name, so it's inside here. In this example, self is used in both the init method, the constructor, and the bark method. So we look here at player, it takes in an init called self. Asset manager I don't think that's self.name. I'm actually very certain that it would not be. Because yeah, that's not how that's gonna work. So we load in. Bear with me. This is gonna be a tad bit embarrassing, but so according to it, we don't even need self here. So we need self here. There. Or there. Expected type string. So, yep, very embarrassing, but regardless, I'm trying to learn. So why does name not act as a string? This method, you just told me not everything needs a self parameter. This method is missing the self parameter, which is required for all instances of methods of a class except for static methods without self. Python treats name as the first argument so that when you call that, Python thinks self is being passed as name and your actual name argument never makes it to the method. Well, that seems a little redundant because up here it was telling me self is being passed twice. Definitely a learning curve. Self name. So def load assets. Image is pygame.load.convert. It is right that I didn't do the return. That is a problem. Add asset is load name, load assets name, append. That seems fine. Self and index. That seems fine. So yeah, this is mad because this never returned image. Okay, so this is looking less angry at me. This here. So I suppose this is what we're going to ask it. Why is self.asset is not callable? Am I supposed to pass an argument in? Well, it's telling me that this line is not callable. And the error is not actually on that line. The line itself is completely valid and creates an instance. What's actually happening, you probably are trying to call self.asset. I don't believe I'm trying to call self.asset anywhere like that. Yeah, this is quite embarrassing, I'll tell you that. Python is definitely a learning curve. So yeah, so we have asset manager, we will allocate memory, we're adding this gets passed to player, and that constructor does not work. Just get rid of that for a second. what I'm doing right now is passing this in to ChatGPT because I am thoroughly confused because it's telling me that I'm calling self.asset somewhere. Problem is exactly here, import asset manager. You're importing the file asset manager.py, but then you're doing this. The issue is asset manager refers to the module, not the class inside it. So you're doing this, trying to call a module, which is not callable. Update this to be from asset manager, import this. Well, that's interesting. So you have to, it's like from this file, import the other. So import, yeah, so from this file, import that class. And I suppose that's the same thing going on here. So like from this file, import that class. So we could do player, this player. Holy cow. Should be able to hit play. Here's what I was saying, we should be able to hit play. There's nothing technically should be wrong here. This should happen. Screen.lit player dot image player dot x position, player dot y position. I'm gonna have the damn robot again explain to me. So why does nothing run? Is this not correct? You define the function by main, but you never actually call it. Well, excuse me, I'm pretty sure I do. I am actually very confident that I call that function. I'm very, very confident. This is almost correct and your structure seems fine, but nothing is actually running, then likely the issue is one of these. My main is defined in a different file but not being called properly. You ran the wrong file. Make sure that you're running the file it contains. If name is main. You're getting a silent crash due to a missing image file. Test.png. Let's follow this. So if name is main, run game loop.main. Game loop.main. N802. NA02 error on my main. This. Not a runtime error. So again, we're going to look up first this, then this, then this, then that. The structure is almost solid, but you've got a few small issues that may be stopping your game from properly running. The line incorrect bullet expects the second argument to be a tuple of coordinates. Yeah, that's a tuple. So again, that does not run. If we go like this, this should make purple screen. Maybe. Get rid of delta time, I guess. I mean, this is my main, right? I mean, I'm actually getting kind of frustrated because it's actually very embarrassing to go through, like, hey, I wrote Python a year and a half to 2 years ago on a daily basis, to haven't wrote it in a few years, to apparently, what? That's so weird. How? But that fails, that fails, that fails. What? Did anybody else see that? Like, I was going, and then like I like danced around like this. Is it because of that? You have to be on the file to run it. Well, okay, hold on. From player, import player. Player is player. Down here, screen.blit, player.image, and then there's a tuple, player.xposition, yposition. If I hit play like this, it would not run. This is the main file, gotta be here, hit play, and then it actually tries to run and we get the errors. Interesting. So we have the game loop.main, player equals player guy, self.asset equals asset, add asset gets cannot convert without Pygame.display initialized. Huh. Well, that would be very interesting. So we might have to call it a few times, but I doubt it. So yeah, we hit this, we make it all the way to image. Doesn't like this. Well, like with any adverse problem we come across, we have to work through it and we have to figure it out. Now, that there I think might be a problem, not quite sure. An image itself, so that's one thing that's weird is data types. I guess anything is any data type, really. It's kind of strange. Asset equals load asset name. So this is what we're struggling with right here. Load assets hits. Definitely doesn't like that. If we were just to take that out, it wouldn't know what to draw. Because of that. But if we just did this and did like no video mode has been set. Let's see what's going on here. Typically only occurs when Pygame.setMode is not called properly or the display is not initialized properly. See, this is quite interesting because it looks like whenever we call some type of Pygame functionality, we need to have it initialed first. So we imported Pygame, we need to initialize it. And I thought like a lot of the screen stuff would be right, like it would be okay to be like, hey, we have like this class here, it contains like load this stuff, and then another class, this is like the player, object oriented, and then over here we have a class or even just like a function that goes, hey, we're gonna add this stuff together and do it. Apparently, for whatever fucked up reason, that is not the way in Python, or at least from the way I'm trying to do it, it definitely does not like it. So where are we hitting this self.pass image at? We're just gonna Control X0 there. And again, from here, import Pygame, or, I wonder if that's another issue here. It's like from asset manager, import Pygame? No? Okay. Import Pygame. Ran over here, importing, it doesn't know what screen is, makes perfect sense because, yeah, which makes me wonder, how am I going to go about doing this? Because we need a while loop. We need like the screen and stuff. I was not expecting to have to pass screen into this stuff for this, but you know, we're just gonna completely disregard Asset Manager right now because that is the bane of my existence at the moment. We're gonna go in here, go like that, we're gonna hit play. Again, that is really, really, really weird. Just from my standpoint. So we're going to come all the way up here. And we're going to say player.image is this. And then we're going to hit play. Cannot convert Pygame without Pygame.display initialized. So Pygame's initialized. Please load in the image. $200 play. I don't see our image here. Mainly because I think this is what happens. I'm going to try something real quick. I'm just going to do this. We're gonna really, really just break this down. As stupid as it sounds, it was definitely a mistake. A big mistake to try to go, oh, okay, so this is how we print a line to, let's do object-oriented programming. Because that's definitely not how that works. We're going to completely get rid of that. We do not need import player. We're just importing Pygame. This is our function. Initialize Pygame. This is our guy. These are our thing. If name is main. That's just oh, starting from scratch again. All right. We're gonna copy this. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna hit Control A, backspace, Control V. And here, we're going to type def my main colon Control X Control V. And here we're gonna go ahead and hit play. Should have purple screen. All right, fantastic. Right here. After we render the game screen purple, we want to say image is pygame.image.load. In here, I'm just going to say test.png. This is where we should draw things, so I'm going to do like screen.blit.image. $200. hit play, should see a red guy. Okay. This is drawn to the screen. This is initializing fucking Python. This is supposed to be our player. This is supposed to actually load in our assets. To me, we shouldn't have to initialize Python back here and set the screen type. That just absolutely does not make any sense. Just from my perspective. But we're going to initialize Python here. We're going to set the screen equal to the screen mode. Then we're going to do the add asset. Pass in our name. Test.png. Just like a self dot. So that's a self dot. Let's see if we can go from asset manager to game loop. We'll skip player for now. So we hit asset manager. We load in the image, we pass it to our list. And this is the passing function. So here's that. This is equal to 0. That doesn't matter. Here, we're going to say from asset manager, import asset manager. Instead of load like this, we should be able to say like asset equals asset manager asset dot, so image equals asset dot pass asset, and we need to give it an index so it knows which asset we're grabbing. Hit play. Is it still red guy? We're making progress. Okay, so we're making progress. I'm gonna come here, copy that. Eventually we're gonna put key stuff into player. For now though, since we made it from here to here, we are going to completely get rid of that. From player, import player. Over here, we're going to say asset equals asset manager, image equals asset dot pass asset. And we want that guy. Here's our position. That's our player. We want player there. Okay, screen.player.image. Boom. Okay, I think some of the issue was where I was calling this versus this, and the order of operations. So this is why I took a step back. And okay, because once we get this part working, right? So there he is. Over here, let's go define a function. Let's call it move. Here we're going to call this stuff. You're going to be Y position though. Bam, 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 that's also going to be Y position. We need to take in delta time into this function. And we need a speed variable. So that's speed. Right, so one thing for anybody watching, and this is common, I think, for everybody. When you're learning something new, it can be frustrating, as you can see. The important part too is one of my major frustrations right now is I have learned Python already years and years ago, and I used it. I built some very simple things. I tried to remake in the Kanto region. I was loading in TMX files from Tiled. But as the old adage goes, if you don't use it often, you will lose it. And so that's to be expected. And it is frustrating, but we learn lessons. We keep moving forward. So I use the which app you use to create that red little guy in the frame? Oh, this. Yeah, this is Aspray. This is, you can compile this. It is $20 on itch.io. I think it's worth it. I paid for it. It's the best pixel art maker that I've found. It's absolutely fantastic. So while running, we're gonna do player dot. It's like what? Move. And we need to pass in delta time, which I believe we got rid of. So delta time is that. Then down here, delta time is this divided by 1,000. All right, let's run this Python file, and there we go. It took a while to get there, but we got there. Now we have a simple game loop setup where we are importing from here. If name is main, we run this function. This function comes through and initializes Pygame. It constructs our player. When it constructs our player, it comes in and it constructs asset manager. Asset manager goes over and goes, hey, what are we doing on construction? And here we go, hey, add in this asset. Add asset takes in the name, loads it into this guy that we make on what I would consider the stack. Then we add them to the list, and then we pop the stack. So if this hits, it is then stored inside of my asset list at this index. We then initialize these other things here, and then we go, hey, player's image, we get this index, and then it hits and goes down and draws it to the screen. Here, I'm going to try something. I don't actually want to do it there. I want to do it here. Print, and we're going to print, I guess it would be player.asset, if I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, player.asset dot my asset list. Does it not like that? Unresolved attribute reference. That's okay. We'll print it over here. Print asset dot my asset list. That way, down here we should be able to see This is what's in our list. It's an actual surface image file, and that's all that survived. Now, if we were to, for whatever reason, go like this, let's call this like, oh, test 2, test 3. We can come over here, make one blue. So this is test 2, file, export. Should be in the same file location, but we'll check. Test 2, and make one green. File, export, test 3. Boom, you get the idea. So now when we hit play here, we can see we have 3 in the list. And if we were to come over, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Seems fine. So if we come over here into player, and if we were to be like, hey, we actually want the player to be green, it would be the second element in the array. And yep, now we have a green player. Now this was a very, very convoluted way, right? Like we went from, hey, let's print out Fahrenheit and Celsius. You watch me struggle, watch me open up some stuff. I even talked to ChatGPT in here, not copy pasting from here, but referencing, right? Because using AI can be okay if you're using it as a tool to learn and not from like, oh, do this thing for me and take it, because you're not going to learn like that. This little refresher has helped a lot, because I went from let's print out this little thing to let's open a game window using Pygame to let's use a little bit of object oriented and get used to how exactly, like learning, oh yeah, from here import this. Now, I don't think we need to import Pygame here. That actually, yeah, we do because of the key presses. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, so you kind of see the thing now. Okay, right? Like, so what? You refreshed, you learned a little bit. You got a square that can move around. Anybody can do that very quickly, and I'm sure, yes. And was my way quick? No. I mean, how long has this been? An hour and a half, right? So, an hour and a half, just for that seems quite crazy. But what are we going to do now, right? So, this is a red image. This is a blue image. This is a green image. Let's make a little game. Let's make a little game as quickly as possible. So, to me, we need walls. We need walls. We need collision. Collision is the heart of every game. So here, you guessed it, we're going to make a new Python file. I'm going to call it walls. And we're going to import Pygame, and from asset manager, import asset manager. Then we're going to do a class. We're going to call this wall. I have no idea that that's even a thing up there, and we're going to ignore that. Slef. We're going to go self. That should be fine-ish. No? Yeah, we don't need that. Get out of there. Do we even need like the... Yeah, we don't need that there. That's interesting. Okay, so Ah. So that is my alarm. What I'm going to do is we're going to do this for one more hour. First off, Control A, and then here, where's my color wheel? Flip. We're gonna be right back, guys. And we'll go for one more hour and see how far we get. All right. So, we got one more hour. Not a whole lot of time, but it's enough time. Maybe. We'll see. So, I'm not going to do any inheritance structures yet. I do wonder. Kind of looks like it's like that. No, I'll probably mess that up too, which is fine. Let's give these guys a position. So they got an X position, a Y position. I think this is proper notation. So they got that. Yeah, let's go width and a height. That's fine. I'm just going to go width and height of the image right now. So we'll revisit that idea a little bit later. So they also got an image. So ours equals, again, up here, asset equals asset manager dot pass image index. Wall should be the blue one. So now that we have a wall, we just want to draw it quickly to the screen. So that's player from walls, import wall equals wall And similarly, screen.lit wall image and wall.x position, y position. That's got to be inside of a tuple. Right now, that would draw that in the top left. So if we came here and hit play, this should be in the top left. Yep, little blue guy. We don't want that. What we want, and it's not going to be like that. That was for me for a good, like, okay, this is how that works in Python. We want a list of these, and we want to go, hey, generate, 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 or however we want to generate these walls, and store these guys in a list. So over here, yes, I'm going to call this all walls. That should be fine. Wall list equals that. Probably a self dot. Should be okay. And then here we're going to define add wall. I don't know if we need to like call it like that. Because I kind of want to pass in it like this. Right? And so I'll show you in Paint kind of like where my mind's at. Bam. So where I'm thinking is we need to generate a grid. And the best way that I found to do this is by rows and columns. And this was not something I'm like, oh yeah, I found. No, I created. No, I've seen a lot of different tutorials and other things. So this is our columns. These are our rows. And we want to go 4 row, 4 column type stuff, basic for loop, and increment the position by what we feel our width is. In this case, I'm doing 16 by 16 images. So I'm going to go for int I is 0. I don't even think we need int I is. Let's ask the old Google. What is the syntax for loops in Python? For I in range. Well, that seems start, stop, step. Okay, I mean that's exactly what we need, but okay. For I in range, we're starting at 0. We're gonna go 10 walls long, and we're gonna go 16. Increment in which we're gonna go up 1, right? So we're gonna do this. And yep, so we start at 0. We're gonna go 10 times. We're gonna go up 1 time each time. And every time we do that, I'm gonna say, hey, wall equals wall, and we're gonna give it. Yeah, I mean that auto-filled beautifully, honestly, because we want the wall position, and we want it to go up by that much every time. So wall position starts at 0. That is not what we want to do, because it starts at 0, right? So 0 times this number. So the first time it's 0. Then it's going to be 1 times 16. So it's going to push it 16. Then 2 times 16 is going to push it 32. So on and so forth. And then we want to add this to our list. That way, this is created. It's shit. Yeah, it takes a poop and puts it right there, and then it's inside our wall list. And so we would actually be calling this guy add wall. Should be fine. Just kind of looking, because I don't know if we want to add it like that. That's gonna. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. Right? Oh, is it wall colon? Is that how we do that? Nah. Just kind of looking, because it's looks like we don't need to call a thing before it. And this here we're just gonna have like a start X and a start Y. That way we're not trying to rely on whatever that guy is storing. That seems more appropriate. This would be the walls going pop, 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 pop. Let's got it like that. Defines, hits it, goes here, adds the wall. Add wall needs to probably be defined after those other, I think, what do they call them in Python? Methods and attributes. So this is a method, those are attributes. Let's go over to game loop. From walls, import all walls. Many, let's call this many wall is all walls. And then we need to be able to grab or draw those walls. So, are we importing Pygame? Yeah, we are. Fantastic. So I'm going to make a definition over here. I'm going to call it draw all walls. And for wall and wall, it shouldn't be wall.draw. It would be the screen.blit. Just like that. And we need to take in screen. So over here, it wouldn't be that. It would be many wall dot draw all walls screen. Okay, kind of curious to hit play. Okay. wall image, da 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 da, invalid destination position for blip. Let's see what's happening here. So this equals x and y. Make our list. We add our wall. When we add our wall from 0 to 10, go up by 1. First time through, we pass in 0 times 16, so that's 0 and 0. That creates our wall. So that's x 0, 0, hits here, appends it. Second time through, this is 1, that's 16, and this is still 0, so now we're at 16, 0, appends it, and we're here. Wall.image should equal this, and that should equal what's passed here. For wall and wall is dot walls. Screen.blip. Invalid destination position for blip. Well, let's out of curiosity do like 20 and 300 here. And then just say, yo, do this one time. And then we're going to go up by 1. Invalid destination. String.blip. Oh, is it not a tuple? Try that again. Okay. You went that way, which is makes sense. So wall.x position, wall.y. So I gotta make sure that these are inside of a tuple. It definitely likes it that way. Hit boom, boom, and play. Should have a list. Okay. Let's go back. For I in range, should I do plus I here? Definitely got bigger, but that does not seem the way to do that. So to me, this seems accurate, but it definitely isn't. So again, watch how I do this. So I type in this, and I ask my question, why does this not create an image at 0, 0, 16, 0, 32, 0, so on and so forth? The logic appears correct. But the issue lies on this line. This uses self.startx as x position, which doesn't change in the loop. Oh yeah, okay. Right? Because this is 0, this is 0. We need to update that. So we add it to the loop, and here we need that. And again and again and again. Now, that is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Definitely not what I thought would happen. So it hits this. So 0. 0 plus 16. Plus 16. Notice it's here, and it's here, so on and so forth. I was figuring it would be maybe up to like that, right? Like just straight through. So let's see what else it has to say. That plus I times 16. So why does this work? The loop variable I is what needs to influence x position if you want to create walls here. So we create a wall, this is its position plus I. So at 1, at 0, then at 1, so on and so forth. So we're going to come here. Don't think we need it like that. According to what I was seeing, that should be fine. Let's try that again. Hit play. Okay, so we have it. We got it right there. And let's shift this over. So let's say, let's go 600. Let's bring it down to 200. Hit play. Not what I was expecting. Started at 100. Right, because that's going to be a big number, and it's going to throw it across the screen very quick. So I suppose, try like that. Small numbers. Okay. That should be fine for a larger number. Right. Now let's create some collision. So now that we have our list of walls, drawing our walls, how do we define collision? So what I would like to do is say, hey, this wall knows everything it needs to know about what collision is. These walls run and checks, hey, find the collision for each guy while it's stored here. Similarly, player himself kind of needs to know about, where and who and what and why. And so we're kind of running into a case where inheritance would be very, very handy because both guys need to know similar information, width and height. So how are we going to go about that? I think as today has been going very, very bad for like any type of teaching style at all. Yeah, holy Python. Yeah, I'm trying to what's the word? I'm trying to refresh myself on Python, and it's hell coming from C++ and Java and C#. I did Python a long time ago, and I'll be having to teach a few classes on this coming up, and so decided, okay, let's take a look at it. And I'm glad, it is embarrassing coming into a thing going, oh hell no, this is this ain't working well. But it's good. It's good that it's happening now and not later. When you take, oh shit, who did I just close? Player. When you take long periods of time off something, you do lose some of it. So just keep that in mind. Looks like we're actually using Python 2.6. Or Pygame 2.6. Anyway, what I want to do is, it's going to be a terrible idea. Awful. Absolutely awful. We're going to do inheritance. And I have no idea how this works in Python, so wish me luck. Here, we're going to give a x position and a y position called selfs. We're going to go like that. And right now, everybody's going to have the same width and the same height. And then we're going to pass this information in. But first, we're going to define, I'm going to do a little calc. We're going to call this calculate edges. And so what we need is like the half width and half height. And this needs to take in itself, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's gonna allow that, but we'll see. Can I call that something? Can I just say like target? Should be fine. Target dot width. We don't want to have that equal. We want this thing called half width to equal, what the heck did I call that? Laugh width. Half width equals target dot width. Half height is target dot height. So here we go. We're calculating the halves, and then we're going to go right edge. So the right edge, and I'll kind of draw this out real quick, because it's some pretty cool maths. Go here. What we want to know is, with our box, where this edge is, so on and so forth. Oop. Don't mind whatever the heck that was. So on and so forth. So how do we calculate that? Well, if I remember right, at least in SFML and in processing, things are drawn from here. So this is technically, it's like X and Y position. Right in that corner. And I'm going to assume Pygame got to be exactly the same. With that said, we want to offset it. We want to go this way, halfway, and we want to go this way, halfway. So like, find our, god dang, holy cow. Pretend that's the halfway point. Right here, that's the center. And so imagine we start, this is our little thing. We want to offset that, call that center. And then we need to go, hey, our right edge, left edge, bottom edge, and top edge is that center plus our half width, half height stuff. So in here, remember how we're like, hey, we got an X position, yada, yada, yada. That's not going to cut it. That's quite literally not going to cut it. We need a, I'm going to call this center X. Oh, I did a semicolon. And center Y. because what happens is we calculate this, our half width and our half height, which honestly probably should be values up here. Self.half width and half height, like that, and like that, so that our offset, so our self dot center x would be our x position plus our half width, and similarly here. So this is actually where we're going to draw things from. We're going to instantiate these guys. So like here, we really need to be passing in a x, a y, a width, and a height. Right, so a x position, y position, a width, and a height. And then we would go from there. So that's a w, and that's a height. So pass in our widths and heights, and we go, hey, calculate our edges. So that sets this stuff, and then we're going to be drawing based off this. But we also want to, I wonder, honest to God, I don't really want to have that inside calc edges. To be very, very blunt, can we just do it like this? Is this allowed in my constructor? Yeah, it's very, very allowed in my constructor, which is probably going to be more proper, right? Because we pass in an x, we pass in a y, we gather a width, and we gather a height. We set our halves, and that way down here, we can be like, hey, the right edge is equal to my center plus our half width, right? Because again here, my center plus this distance equals this, and vice versa on flipped on its head type of stuff. How's it going, Morris? We're gonna be doing inheritance. So hey, send in your code. You can try, if you're interested, if you go to this website, Pastebin, and you paste all your code here, and then you send me the link that this generates, you won't have to do part by part. Or if you make a GitHub account and then add me to the repository, or even share the link and have a public repository, I can take a look at it as well, and then I can showcase it. And I'm sure your code is going to be one hell of a lot better than what I'm currently doing. Even so, it's a good. Wonder, do you just like say, well, okay, that's proper. But yeah, we're gonna be trying some inheritance. It's gonna be a mistake, but it's okay. So we got calc edges, and then so that's this is gonna be a minus there. Then we need a right edge, left edge. No, we're gonna. This stuff actually might just all become part of the constructor. I'm not even gonna bullshit right now. Because instead of like a calc edge function, why not just have a this happen in the constructor, and this just be like, yo, collision, I think that's actually going to be a little bit more proper in this case. So we want, yeah, a top edge. Thank you for autocomplete. That was beautiful. Let's double check. So right is center plus half, left is center minus half. Top would technically be minus, because positive, negative in these type of things, because of the way computers draw to the screen. So yeah, we have our centers, we have our top or bottom, and then over here in collision, we should be able to say if right edge, so if the guy who's actually doing stuff, if his right edge, and let's draw this out, make it very, very clear. That way I'm not just talking out my ass here. If this right edge is less than this guy's left edge, so on and so forth, then we're not colliding, right? So if this right edge is less than our target's left edge, then we're just going to return. I put a semicolon there. Okay. If our targets, or if my left edge is greater than my target's right edge, then we're also going to return. If my top edge, and this is where it gets a little tricky, so we'll draw this out again. If my top edge is less than his bottom edge, actually, again, this is why it's tricky. If my top edge is greater than his bottom edge, because this is positive. Let's go back here. So if my top edge is greater than this guy's bottom edge, then we're not colliding. And similarly, if my bottom edge is less than his top edge, we're returning. But, so if this, if that, all set. Otherwise, how are, can we just say return true? Is that just allowed? Can I return yes? I mean, let's see here. Let me bring this over and ask how to return a Boolean in Python. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that don't make no sense. The example is even returns true if the input number is even or false, because it's using modulo, right? The number, let's say I pass in 4 modulo 2. If that remainder is 0, it's an even number, because whenever you put in modulo, you're getting the remainder, and if it's not 0, of course it would, So in this case, it's not quite being like, yo, return. But I want it like, is it capital? Is that all it is? Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for it whenever. Let me file save again. Yeah, whenever you pass it over, I'll give her a good old try. So yep. So we're gonna try some inheritance. This would be the collision code, ish. We'll see. And we need to pass this guy along. So, we're gonna try some stuff from game object, import game object, and player. You're gonna inherit from game object. I don't know if that's gonna be the syntax. Maybe. Okay, he needs an XY, right? That should be. So here, 200, 200, 16, 16. Looks suspicious. The reason why it looks suspicious is we got a game object here. He's passing in these values, but it's not from here. So I wonder, can I just like, bam, these. I wonder what it's mad about down there. Unexpected indent. Need like a colon. Just like I thought, it's gonna be a bad idea to do inheritance, but we're gonna do inheritance. Python proper way to do inheritance. Okay, so we got class animal, yada yada yada, as a function, dog, animal. That's interesting. That is very interesting. And we just call it super dot. That's kind of like Java. And in here, we need that XY, right? So like 200, 200, 16 and 16. That should be fine. Let's try it. Okay. We're getting somewhere. We're figuring out. We're doing the computer programming thing, and just learning on the fly here. That's actually a pretty fucking neat way to do inheritance. Just like, yo, pass it in and then do like a super. Yeah, honestly. So let's do that again over here, because we want you to be a game object. And so from, actually just should be like import, no. From game object, import game object. Yada yada yada. Look back at player. Gonna do like that super dot. Come over to walls here. Notice how we're passing an X and Y. That is fine. That's totally fine. Just like that. Now if we hit play, we still have this, right? So what we want to do is right here, if this is going to be true, we're just going to print collision. And we're going to call this collision function inside of player. So when we're moving, yada, 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 collision gets called. And remember, it takes in a game object. So we're actually not going to do it there. We're going to come over here into our game loop while we are running. Before we move, we're going to say, hey, and this is where it's going to be slightly tricky. Slightly. Because honestly, we're going to have walls run collision. That makes way more sense because to explain, imagine this. We have a player, and we're like, oh, player, check for collision with a wall. That's really easy to do here because you just do like, yo, player collide wall. But it's 4 walls and walls, and might as well just do like here, like 4 walls and walls pass in a target, and then inside of the game loop just be like, yo, player, check for player. So here, we're just going to use yo collide. Our check. Ooh, caps lock. Check collision. Oh wow. There's my C++ shit coming out. Boom, check collision. Yep, 4 walls and walls. That is a very interesting thing that just autofilled. I don't know what that is. We're not going to worry about it. We're going to take in collision. We're going to come back over to walls. We're going to type in collision like that. And here we're going to type in target. And I'm going to pass in target. And just do a self dot. Or no, wall dot. What am I thinking? No, wall dot target. Bam. So then inside of our big guy here, before player moves, we can go, hey, what do we call it? Like all walls or many wall. Be like, yo, many wall. Check for the collision with our player. And so let's see what happens. Notice down here, nothing's printed to the screen. We're all good. And if we touch it, it should say collide. And it does not. Let's check some stuff. I'm gonna put that right here. Boom. I'm wondering, exposition's probably not updating. This is also why that calc edges thing I was going over, because we construct it once, but then the center is changing, and this also. So it's okay to have it in the beginning, but we also want like a what do you call it? Like a calculate edges. And that way, when we call this, inside of each little guy's update thing. So here we're moving and we're like, yo, check some edges. And similarly for the walls, like, yo, draw on the walls, wall dot, check, calculate edges. Right there. Let's try that again. So what was happening is when we move, notice now we have collision. So what was happening, just to be very very verbose, inside of our game object here, we're like, hey, create these values, but then we're moving by X position, right? So if we look over inside player, that's what's actually moving. One way to solve this, and actually, my opinion, the proper way, is we need to be moving by center. Center Y, and so we move by center. Inside of here, we don't need to recalculate where that's at. We do need to calculate where this is though, because the right edge, left edge is going to constantly change with our center. So here, we're moving by center. Also, we should be drawing by center as well. So I'm going to come into our game loop here, and that should be center X, center Y. Similarly for the walls, center X and center Y. I'm going to also come up here because in our walls, we were doing that gets passed to there. That should actually be completely reasonable. Yep, it should be. Now, cool, we can detect when it happens, but now we need to actually do it, you know. And Morris, I never received it. It's no big deal. You can send it in any comments, any video at any time, but you know, take your time. It's I'm more than happy to see your game and your code, and probably be a very good learning experience for myself as well. So yeah, just to reiterate, we have like if name is main run this game loop. Game loop instantiates players, walls. Walls and players are a game object. Game object knows about collision. Asset manager technically should be part of game object instead of being instantiated in here. It is what it is for the moment. But now we need to go, hey, you touch it, you can't move, right? So here, calculating edges. And how do we want to go about this? Because I don't want to just have one simple Boolean and go, hey, don't move if you touch, because then you just can't move if you touched it. We need a more verbose system, more robust. So is there like a Boolean? Should be. But you don't call data types. So we're going to call self dot is collide right, is collide left, so on and so forth for the 4 cardinal directions. Right, left. I'm just going to call that up and up, down. Right, left, up, down. Those are false. We're calculating edges over here. Actually, over here in walls. hear me out. This is going to be really weird. It's going to be very, very, very weird. It should work for now. We're going to have one other one, a fifth one, called Has Collided. Then we're going to come over here into our walls and say this thing here equals target.has collided. We're going to pretend that's a thing. So has collided. So over here inside our if statements, if we are moving up, so if we're moving up, right, and has collided is true, so if has collided, or dot has collided, so if that's true, then this is true. And we can't do that. This and has or is collided, or self dot is collided top. Oh, it really doesn't like that. What is the syntax here? So if we push the W key, oh, is collide up. Same here. Move the redundant parentheses. We'll try it. We'll see what happens. So right now I just can't move up. Okay. So if that is true, if has collided is true, and is collided is true, and this can only happen if this is false. I don't think it's the one and. I'm actually very, very certain that it is absolutely no way in hell. Yup. So what we're gonna do is this. If is collided up is false, then we can do that. And file. That is my alarm going again. Let's grab that. So I do have some things that I have to do today. There's a capstone, graduates showcasing what they've done throughout the years, their final big hurrah, and I have to go to that. It's not till 4, or at least when I got to be at the school. It's 1 now. Let's call it at 2. Like straight up, 2 o'clock. We will end. We have 1 more hour, because I'm kind of having fun, and it's a little embarrassing not knowing. Oh, this is exactly that or this, but that's part of it, right? So if this has collided is true, then is collided up is true. If this is false, it's talking about like redundant parentheses. What do you mean by redundant? should be fine. I will take a bathroom break though. Yep, we're gonna take a bathroom break, and we're gonna be right back. So open up our little color wheel, flip, and we're gonna do another BRB. Oof. Alrighty. Well, let's we got about an hour left, and last time trying to get some collisions, right, and get them to stop moving when this happens. Now we got the collision thing to move onto the screen like this. Over here we're saying, hey, target.has collided equals this. We're gonna go like here, and we're gonna print that value. We're gonna go back in the game object, and we're not gonna print that value. And we're also not gonna print, where was that? Was that like inside player? Yeah, we're not gonna print the asset list anymore. So hit play, false, 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 false. True for like half a second, I guess. Okay. Just kind of see here. Just looking at the code. If our key is W, if our has collided is true, self.collide up becomes true. If it's false, let us move up. go like this. Actually, we're gonna have a print line there coming up soon. Like right now, I think. Walls, yep. So true. Print. And play. Right, so it's not making it there. If self-dot has collided, it's true. So the thought process where I'm coming from is, if we are pushing the W key and we have collided, collide up becomes true. If collide up is true, you cannot move. That was the intention with this statement. Now, in practice, it's not quite that way, it looks like. So if self-dot collided, has collided, this becomes true. Apparently you don't need parentheses here, which is kind of interesting. Let's try that, because right now I should not be able to move up. Yeah. That is correct there. Can we just do exclamation point here? If self-dot that, no? Okay, so what do you mean we can simplify this thing? More actions. If false is that's weird. Is not false, that's stupid. If not self, yeah, okay, this should be fine. Because we should move up, down, yep. And right here, it's actually not getting this value past it. So even though this has collided, this is kind of what I want to check. So over here in walls, we throw in this. In this case, target is player. Player dot has collided. Equals wall dot collision target. Oh, that's a debug guy. We're gonna hit cancel. False. Huh. So even though we pass in player as the target, player's has collided guy does not update Interesting. That's definitely not the case usually. So we're going to ask this damn thing right here. We're going to say we're going to go like this and have it teach me. When I do the following, then we're going to go back over to PyCharm. We're going to grab this here. Players has collided. It's not a method, it's an attribute. Does not update. Why is this? If player.hasCollided remains false after check collision runs, there's a few possible causes. If multiple walls are checked and only one wall collides, this could happen. Let's say the third wall collides, returns true, but the fourth wall doesn't. Aha! So we gotta do a break. Okay. That's interesting. So if that happens, then we stop. And then we just need to reset that value. Okay. Interesting. That is actually, it's pretty cool. So target is wall collision target. Over here in player, if has collided is true, this happens. Is there a otherwise in this? Can I say otherwise? I sure as hell can. Ooh. Interesting. Not every wall is actually being a collide guy. So not every wall is being a little wall guy. So let's see, we have that. Let's put that back to what they were. Let's go ahead and check center here. Center X. That should be to the right and to down by their halves. This should be fine. Minus top plus up left and right. Apparently these are redundant. Who would have known? Yeah, apparently that's it's redundant code. this is still kind of funny to me that it's like, hey, there's a better way to do it, and you should do it in the inverse. Probably not, but okay. The walls have that. They all get a width and a height. Let's just do 0. Let's just see if some funny shenanigans are happening here. Yeah, definitely some funny shenanigans are at work here, and I'm not exactly sure why it is. So I'm being very careful here because it has something to do with calculate edges. That is my first thing on my mind. So we're just going to do like a def update. Pass in like a self thing. And inside here, we need to do self.calculate edges. Then in here, I'll do like a wall.calculate edges. And I'll also update it here. Wall.calculate edges. And we're going to check ChatGPT. Yeah, so the first couple walls collide, but the other ones don't. Any ideas as to why? Interesting. Let's try this. That's why we can check each individual wall. Let's go over to, let's see here. Probably don't need them to do that. So I'm going to pass this over here and tell it this is the walls this is the game object. And this is how we do the layer. And this is the how we do this stuff. Come over here. I separated them to be 2 apart. Layer can only collide with the first 2 walls. Oh. Saying do it after, not before. Interesting. I would have figured as as I did, that it would come through and it goes, hey, calculate the edges, move, calculate the edges, move. But I mean, this makes sense too. But again, only the first 2 collide. So let's see what's going on here. So in the wall constructor, so walls, do the same in the wall constructor, call super, pass some stuff in. Gonna get rid of that update. So I wasn't even using it, huh? That would also be an issue. There's one. Again. Yeah, we don't collide with those guys. That is. For wall and self-tile wall list. Don't calculate edges there. So we did that. Let's pass in my walls again. Control C, Control V. Yeah, still only collide with the first 2 walls. Thanks for the update. Looks like you fixed some parts, but a crucial issue remains in your check collision function. For a wall in wall list, target has collided wall. Break. This exits after just checking 1 wall. Slight difference. Slight difference, right? Because I'm like, yo, this equals that. It's saying if this, then target dot has collided, has collision. Then we break. Want I couldn't move up. Target that has collided. It's true. We break. Otherwise, false. Yeah, you know, it's a learning curve coming from Java, C, C++, and C# to back to Python. And we have collision. Now, if we gave it just a little bit more space, right? So like, hear me out, like 48. Should be able to slide between them, right? Yeah. No, it's like a whole zone there. Huh. They work for what they are. That'll do. That'll do fine. So we have our walls, and now we need more walls. So we added that. We want to pass in a offset for X and an offset for our Y. We're going to do plus offset X and offset Y. So it's first time 0, 0, that's fine. Second time we want to do like let's try 100. So now we have the top and the bottom wall. Hit play, right? And we can go through it like this because we didn't, or I didn't implement the rest of the collision code. So if we go into walls, this is fine. What we need to do is in player, do this for every case. So right here, we're like, do this, and in this case it's down, not up. So bam, and then we want this one. Similarly, we want, this would be left. Boom, boom, and bam. So, hi there, Rowan Pariah. We're not really I'm not really making anything, to be honest with you. So the thing is, I haven't wrote in Python in a very, very, very long time. About over a year and a half. I've been really focused on C, C++, Java, that type of stuff. And so I got asked to teach a class in Python for game design, and I am brushing up. This is what we are basically attempting to do. I see the error of my ways. Because once this worked for just one direction. Because we're like, yo, if we're collided over here, then this and that. I didn't really have that set up proper. Because over here in walls, it's like, if this has happened, this is true. Otherwise, this is false. Here, if we do a key press, like, if we have collided with this key press, then this is true, and we can only move under this circumstance, so on and so forth. However, what just happened is with the, let me actually go to here. That's fine for a single case use, but if we touch now, we're like, hey, we've collided. So now I'm going to push the up key. What happens is the up key gets hit. So in this case, it goes here and it goes, hey, is this true? Which it is. Making that true, and then this can't happen. So I got to come up with a different way to go about this. So I'm trying to recall in my Java code, because in C++ I use SFML and it has a get global bounds intersects, and I do use for booleans and checking like, hey, if we're moving in this direction and we have collided, no longer move in this direction. I'm wondering, I'm going to try something. It's, because this is going to happen regardless. And I need a good way to go from when we touch this target, what side did we touch? And inside calculate edges, we have this data, and we're like, hey, if our right edge is less than here, return false, return false, return false, return false. Otherwise, we did hit. This did occur. And the original idea was, when this occurs, we come over to walls and say, hey, if this has occurred, change this to has collided. When that is the case, do some stuff. That is not going to cut it. We got to come up with a much better way to go through this. So what I'm going to do is go like this. Now, I'm going to save, and we are on a time limit, so we'll see. We'll see what we can accomplish. It's going to be a little tricky though, because I'm trying to remember, and I don't want to pull up my Java code to check. The C++ code isn't going to help in that means, because we're doing it completely different. Because I believe in the C++ code, if get global bounds not intersects, when that collision happens, we're moving the opposite amount as that key is pressed, if that makes sense. So like if this key is pressed and that has happened, this would be plus equals on top of this minus equals, kind of making you. We might be able to do something similar, But again, we have this just one guy being passed around. I'm trying to remember, because I do this same exact method in the Java processing game. But I can't quite remember exactly how that goes, which is, honestly, I don't want to, but I need a reference. It's very similar. So, game object, right edge, left edge, bam. Return true. Inside of game manager. Right in here. This is our collide. This is fine. I'm gonna look over here in walls. Wall, collide. If this happens, it does this. This fix overlap function is something my teacher provided us, which is fine. As you can tell, quite complicated looking. But it's returning true. And then all that's saying is like, hey, apply that to the player. Apply fix, fix overlap. I have a feeling I'm going to have to do the same exact thing. Where is the apply fix at? Right there. Void apply fix. Well, that seems like a pain in the ass, to be very frank with you. So right here we just have this simple thing. I feel like there should be a way that's rather simple to not have, like, because his collisions, they're very, very close with that fix overlap function that he provided, and it works well. There should be a way to go, hey, this thing has happened. When this thing has happened, don't move in the direction you just did. It's almost like an is key press versus is key clicked scenario, like previous state versus current state. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I want to go about that. That's tricky. That is a very tricky scenario. So when we press the W key, we want to stop that collision. Vice versa. but we want to allow the other button presses to at least check for the collision in that direction. I do not know how I want to go about that. So I'm not going to copy paste from here, but I'm definitely going to ask it because I'm getting a little tired, to be honest, and I have no idea how to even go about that. So with the current setup, passing is collide works for one direction, but if collide is true for all cases, player is stuck. How can I check for collision in that direction? The issue is now that you're using a simple to flag, yada yada yada. Try to move each, temporarily move the player, check for collision. So we move an amount. This is inside the player guy. So yeah, we're gonna have to take, it says take in a value walls. So check the collision. If self has collided, undo the move, collided is true. Otherwise, collided is false. Attempt the movement, check, undo, pause, basically. We can try that. Seems a little weird, because then I'd have to pass in walls. So here's the thing I don't like about this. If we were to pass in walls like this, currently in our structure, walls is a list. And so we'd have to do like for wall and walls, target dot, that thing, which shouldn't be calling a target dot move inside that. That seems wrong. Like completely wrong. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna call it here. Nothing wrong with saying I don't know, because this is where we're gonna call it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. It's something I want to solve. Again, I'll probably have to look at the Java code, do the whole fix overlap stuff more proper way. Now that, to be very transparent, that fix overlap code was completely provided by my teacher, and he told us like, oh, this is a hand wave, don't worry about it. So I have not worried about it. But I gotta know what this does, how it works. So I'm gonna go through this line by line, and we're basically gonna replicate this over here tomorrow. And yeah, like I said, I'm a bit embarrassed because when my intention was, when I began this stream, was to get a refresher in Python, and what I got was my ass kicked. To be very frank, this is completely different from how I remember from the time I've spent in Java and C++ lately. This is different, but I have to know it. I'm a computer programmer, and I don't get to choose what tools I use. That is, something that is decided for me. And so this is extremely important that I can figure out a good concept to do this, because in games you must have collision. And with that said, thanks for watching this wild ride. See ya.